everybody to Poetry Street, the room without a roof where every voice is heard. I'm Maggie Bloomfield. Chip is on the wall today. Welcome, Zoomers. Poetry Street is in its 12th year. It was started some time ago. I will give you the history after I give a land welcome and thank the library for giving us a home, and Joan White for inviting us to have this wonderful venue. New York City, Long Island has always been a gathering and trading place for many indigenous peoples. We acknowledge that we are guests on this land. Poetry Street and our work in this area of Long Island is situated on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Lenape, who are the original caretakers. Also, the Canarsie, the Shinnecock, the Nantucket, the the Muncie, and the Haudenosaunee. So like I said, this is our 12th year. This venue was started, oh my goodness, I guess 12 years ago by Susan Diggle and Bubby Brown. A lot of you know both of those people. It was started at the Blue Duck restaurant down the street, and we were there for many years until that wonderful establishment closed. Then we drifted for a while, then we went on Zoom during COVID, and then we were invited by the library to make this wonderful room. I love this room, our home. We are glad you are here today. What's going to happen today is we're going to have 3 features and then an open mic. Before we start, though, I want to tell you about the community poem. There's a jar on the table with papers in it. Take a paper, write a line. I will put a poem together and bring it next month. If you want to hear your poem, if you want to hear your line, you gotta come back next month. I was not here last month, and Jen Senft cordially agreed to take charge of the community poem. She has written it, and I'm going to let her read it, invite her to read it. Come on up, Jen.
Okay, so everybody who was here wrote something on a slip of paper. Something I didn't do last time that I did do this time was I used one of the slips as the title. It worked really well. So the title of the poem somebody wrote is Another Birthday. From this day I must expound. Fear holds my heart as words fill my head. I wish I were as free as the wind in the tree. Refuse the sabotage of what we are. We are one. We have power. Beautiful days, beautiful people, beautiful spirit. Love is amazing. All things are just. That happiness is in the air. You all did it.
Beautiful, Jen. It's so much fun to put that poem together, isn't it? Yes. Okay, we're going to bring the features up. They're going to have about 10 to 12 minutes. Then we will have an open mic. Hopefully you've signed up. There are rules about the open mic. We'll go over them before, but just to reiterate before, you have 3 minutes. One poem, please, not the epic that you are writing, please. I know writers, and we all want to go on and on. Not today. Um, when people read, we encourage you to be loud with your response, to applaud, to, even though this is a library, to yell, scream, like it's a sports event. Even if you don't like the poem, because a lot of people have started writing because they came here and got a great response. They fell in love with poetry and they come back and back to the open mic, and eventually they feature. Um, okay, today we have three wonderful features. Our first feature is an award-winning poet, playwright, and screenwriter. She was born in Trinidad, moved to the US at age 13. She has authored 2 poetry books, Night Visions and All Rise, Stand Up, Holy Gates. Her poem, I Thought It Was Love, won first place in the 2016 Nassau County Poet Laureate Society contest. Marsha is secretary on the board of Caribbean American Poetry Association. Please help me welcome Marsha Nelson.
Thank you all. Thank you, Maggie, for inviting me, and Chip on Zoom. Thank you, Chip. The last time I was here, it was what, pre-pandemic? I think it was 2018 or 2019. Right now we're like our eras. We're measuring our eras with pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. But thank you for having me back. I really love this. And sending greetings from CAPA, that's Caribbean American Poetry Association, where Dr. Beryl Williams is the president and Johnny is the media guy and also the treasurer, and I'm the secretary, like March said. We need board members, y'all. We need members and we need board members. So those in Zoom, in the Zoom land, please contact us or jump on Instagram at Kappa Poetry Story. And there you can find us and leave a message. Now, my first poem today is going to be dedicated to Lynn Cohen. Lynn was my professor at Hofstra and also my teacher, my poetry teacher. She introduced me to everyone in the PPA, Poetry Performance Association, with Cliff Leidner. That was back in the day, but she's going on now. She passed away before the pandemic. And the poem is called Give Me My Flowers Now So I Can Smell Them. When Diane told me you were in the hospital, I was worried. Cancer, a stroke from a hematoma, had caused you to fall outside of a restaurant. I walk into North Shores Hospital, gripped in trepidation, holding on to a bouquet of pink, pale salmon roses. A petite East Indian nurse is giving you your meds, a bitter pill, hard to swallow. The pleasant male nurse, a Trinidadian, is helping the lady in the next bed. He comes over to me quickly. You can't burn live flowers or plants in this place. He takes the roses, swears they're not real. Amused, I tell him to smell them. He's pleasantly surprised. Smiling, he locks them in a closet, promises to give them to your daughter when she visits. The petite nurse asks if I'm with the family. I say yes. She's my mentor. She asks you if you know me. Suddenly you're lucid. Oh, Marsha, I'm dying. The words hit me, douses me in cold, like cold ice water. The intake nurse at the front desk worries that the roses will die in the dark closet. No one will remember them there, she tells me. Take them. On my drive home, I pledge to stop and smell the flowers more, withholding nothing, hugs and kisses, confessions and affirmations. Give me my flowers now so I can smell them. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. And the next poem is called Poetry Heals. This was the theme of the Long Beach Poetry Festival, and really and truly, poetry does heal. It's the wind in the sails that takes me away on a long, hot summer's day. The sound of water as it flows skips over slippery rocks where green moss grows. The way of a bird as it flies high in the skies, its wings gliding, mesmerizing. The satisfied purr of a Persian, they say, release pain and improve circulation. Never knew that. The garden I cultivate, sunflowers, bees, and apple trees. The winter I took to hibernate, my own world in which to create. The people in my community, the healers, preachers, spoken word divas, and word dancers. Thank you. Yes. That was for Paula. My next poem, I'm dedicating this to my nephew, William. He lives in Ohio. He's had a pretty rough time of it, but he's doing much better, and we keep praying for him. We call him Poppy. That's his AKA, Poppy, and it's titled For Poppy. 5 years in the state penitentiary, and you cross the threshold to adulthood. You were only 19 when you entered the system. It was the year of the Me Too generation, when women marched on Washington, sexual abuse and harassment was put to the question, and Kaepernick took a knee. You survived COVID in containment, surrounded by death in a cell block where your cellmate took his last breath. The day they released you, you shed your prison clothes like a python sheds his skin, threw them in the trash bin in the kitchen, and showered for an hour, washing away the stench of lost freedom, brutality, and free labor. Bleak nights, ruthless fights, and alone in the hole, washing them down the drain, but still the tattoos remain. Thank you. Red flag. Back bent, pricked fingertips drip crimson, smeared on cotton. Sweat and tears mingle, bare back strapped, 52 lashes spewed the color of our soiled flag. Broken necks, bodies hung limp, swaying in the vile Confederate wind. Buck breaking, broken spirits. Our trees are fallen, plucked at the roots, the fruit of our womb stolen. Our branches break, snaps limbs and body parts, sever joints and communities. Who brought you from Egypt in disease-ridden ships, dear jewel of the Nile? Thank you. And quite expeditiously, my last poem is called Young King. And Maggie's gonna hold up the artwork. I really was gonna do, because the last time I came, I did all the artwork. I like to collect art from young up and coming artists. And I went to those, you may know Jay Vegas. He has he had a venue in Oceanside and called Angles, and it was such a vibe. I went in there, you know, you had the bar, you had all the poets, the vibey poets, and there was this young lady doing, come back, yeah. And this young lady was doing art. And as the poets read, she would, you know, do artwork to it. And this is what she came up. And when I asked her after, what's the title? It was the same title I had in mind. And listen to it. It says, it goes, the title is Young King. Angles are formed when two lines intersect at a point. They meet in the nook, in the dimly lit corner of the restaurant with its sleek bar, caramel princess serving up drinks, patrons serving up words of hurt and disappointment, word porn, sex, violence, and introspection. Talia, heaven's precious jewel, the dew from the living God. Brush in hand, pauses when he says, struggling got no hue. She paints bold strokes of the color black, strokes on the color back. The young king center stage, anointed, the tip of his pen soaked in blood, appointed. Words flowing from his tongue, heart to heart and breast to breast, breathing fire from his chest. And that's who he is, the young king. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be back for that.
Let's hear it again for Marsha Nelson. Did I mention that my co-host, Chip Williford, is the new poet laureate of Suffolk County? Okay. Our next feature, David was born and raised on Long Island's Gold Coast without gold. Uh, he resides with his wife, Linda, who he's going to read with today in her childhood home. David has been writing poetry for over 55 years. This is his almost first reading, and we are pleased that he is here with us at Poetry Street today. May I present David Dickman.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to show off my lack of sanity. I'd like to dedicate this, my first featurette, to Sharon Anderson, who passed on earlier this year. She led me to forms, kicking and screaming, and some of that you'll hear today. This is in her memory, form and function. There is no acquiescence in my soul. At last I plumb the depths of Walt's lament. Shouldn't have started with this. The captain of my verse, now heaven sent, ringing in my head is sorrow's toll. She taught us how to gather up our words, no comfort sought in regimented lines, no empty phrase, nor empty phrases satisfying rhymes, and cast them into form that undergirds. She wasn't one to waste a silly pun. Gentle shepherds are loath to swing the staff. She would prefer to leave us with a laugh, which tended to imbue her work with fun. Function and depth of meaning, never less, while form was one sure gauge of her success. And a suitable follow-up to that is what she said was her favorite poem of mine. Spokes. My father spoke in silences, punctuated with words. His mother spoke remonstrances, never passed her teaching. His father cultivated wit, cauliflower, and cows. My mother spoke and spoke and spoke. Words would seldom fail her. Her father, no, her mother spoke with an Irish tilt and a twinkle in her eyes. Her father wove elaborate tales with bow addressing strings. These voices spoke to tender youth, some lessons unintended. These many spokes are the wheel I ride, a magic of their making. Their gifts bespoke this simple man. It wobbles, never broken. To elaborate on that Irish tilt, perhaps you'll understand a little better after this. Old-fashioned grandma. Everyone loved my old-fashioned grandma. Most saw her as sweetness personified, but family events oft led to drama when she'd gotten thoroughly ossified. By the end of by the fifth round, her Irish took over and was thoroughly inappropriate. She might mention your previous lover to the person you just started to date. What came next could be tame or the worst. Kindly aside, diatribe, bawdy verse. Don't let yourself count how many she'd nursed. Mention the number, you might get a curse. About family, she was impassioned. Her weakness was that next old fashioned. Following on with a little more family. This is from my father's reminiscence. Dooryard Kingdom. The dooryard fiefdom was not overlarge, for the 4-year-old princeling left in charge. The barn to the west, garage to the south, town road bordered the east, and castle the north. Southwest was the smithy, the king's domain. The castle was ruled by his teacher queen, who left the young master to his summer dreams. A just reward after 2 years of schooling, begun soon after diapers and drooling. For his one-room schoolhouse was her domain. This still only child soon proved a tyrant, ruling the dooryard as regent aspirant. He ordered about the chickens and ducks, raising a cacophony of squawks and clucks. In no uncertain terms, this was his domain. There was that one hen who would simply not mind, not heeding his edicts, no matter what kind. Our prince fetched that rope-handled wooden pail, hen to serve penance in the overturned jail, which became that poor hen's final domain. When our fair prince was called for his meal, the hen stayed imprisoned, none heard it squeal. Poor hen was roasted long before its time, without the benefit of sage or thyme. The prince earned his drubbing, that pail his bane. To go back a few years, the oldest poem that I still read aloud is The Plinth. and I'm not going to bother to explain how it came to be. Before Ozymandias. Here once a statue proud did stand, around it, where there is but sand, lie all the pieces of that, once grand. Here rests, still firmly embedded on stone, the plinth from which that work was wrung, wreathed in dust, the wind since blown. The sculptor dead and buried long, the carver with his plinth so strong. Which man was right? Which one? Ode to the Dawn. Anticipating the rise, the sky begins to gray, then works its way to blue. It may next go to orange, red, or purple, but often just a lighter blue. When the moment arrives, that first blinding ray may be white or simply gild a distant cloud with gold. As the face peers over the horizon, the background may be nearly white, take on a dangerous red hue, or just echo that shining face. When your smile comes into sight, it fills me with warmth to my core. Good morning, my love. We'll see. Maybe I'll get through this one. For love of lost. The prompt was rest, the challenge, a triolet, the overshadowing event, the loss of my goddaughter. Mixed in grief of shoulds and oughts, a crucible full of slag and dross. There is no rest in scattered thoughts, mixed in grief of shoulds and oughts. I seek for meaning in the naughts, lest all that remains is tragic loss. Mixed in grief of shoulds and oughts, a crucible full of slag and dross. And JR will appreciate this. The prompt was wild violets. Among the immaculate green of uniformed lawns marching down this suburban street, you will find my patch of nonconformity. Deep in its jungle of willful defiance, among the clover and the dandelions, hides the purple majesty of the wild violets.
Let's hear it for David Dickman. What wonderful features we have today. They will come back at the end for an encore. Our third poet is married to the second poet. She is an award-winning poet, the author of 5 chapbooks, a book of poetry prompts, and her work is nationally and internationally anthologized. Linda was instrumental in establishing the Poetry Path in Northport Village Park. She is the coordinator of poetry for the Northport Arts Coalition, teaches at the Walt Whitman Birthplace, Northport Historical Society, and Samantha's Little Bit of Heaven. Linda was a New York State Woman of Distinction in Education in 2023. Please help me welcome Linda Dickman.
See, Chip, you didn't even have to move the mic for me. It's all good. I'm gonna take you to Maine. April of 2023 was a tough poetry month for me. This is not a poem, it just happens to rhyme. But I'm gonna take you there. One spring in Maine, Stonington, Maine. It started with looking for constellations in Maine, in the fog, in the fabled star-rich, clear skies of down east that sometimes teased us with northern lights. This was no ordinary fog. Not pea soup, no little cat's feet, no blanket, no rolling in, no cliche or literary line gave help. This fog fell on my face in droplets. It advanced, it engulfed, it swallowed schooners, it foraged on masts, it dined on dories, picked at parking lots, a voracious eater of vehicles. At least we could see ourselves. And then the fire detector light, the CO2 detector light, the TV LED, the alarm clock light, the phone on night setting light, under the door light, oven light, finally a constellation, Electronica Minor. Thank you. Same town, really happened. Boyce's Motel for Barrett Gray and all the Grays before him. On the road again, all day. The scene changed all day. Tiny bodies painted raindrop patterns on the windshield. All day, pine trees washed in showers, tipped their cone-laden heads as we drove by. There was the welcoming sticky note on the door. Welcome, Linda Dickman. He left the light on for us. A small, immaculate room, perfect for a new view, a foghorn lullaby. The sun had the strongest voice in this slant room. This time I unpack, give in to stay. The waves clap over open spaces in the stone wall, applauding for Stonington. Fringed granite edges our walk. Wind washes up over my chin, past my ears as I lean against the angled deck chair. I breathe in. I breathe in airs of wet dock, old rope, low tide. I watch the patterns on the water, wind-driven rock foundation. The welcome at the inn, the no TV shows I usually watch gift, nothing routine save breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. The no driving, the silence, punctuated by the ever-present foghorn. Thank you. The stone fresh crust of Maine, for those who worked at the settlement quarry. Before I realized I was standing on a glacier, before I knew of granite's distinct call, before I could see Webb Cove, I saw it reflected in the blue of my lover's eyes. Before I knew what glacial till was, before I knew how quarries made Stonington famous, before I knew the colors of feldspar under my feet, flakes of black mica, before I saw the reindeer moss, the blueberries. Before I set off on the path, we approached a simple planked walk. 3 steps in, balsam fir. Cones crushed under my feet release their pungent fragrance. Christmas in my nose. Thank you. Thank you. And this is true. Even the water whispered for the working folks in Stonington, Maine. Gulls rising up like milkweed on the draft of a thermal wind. Quiet pickups on Main Street roll, not a radio wave or a haddock shoal. Waiters, caps, and lobster traps. Those in knee boots too, the working folks are up pre-dawn. Fishing boats on rippled lawns. Their weathered skin and salty grins to be among the local kin. This town's off-season charm, embrace, reserved and warm. A dearth of masts, but not of floats. Cushioned were these lobster boats. The lobstermen and women all attend to Foghorn's lonely call. Down at Stonecutter's kitchen, they grab breakfast Sammys on their way. This galley feeds the folks that feed us. Get up even earlier to meet their need. A friendly greeting, a door held long, added to the welcome song. Caffeinated, salted smiles, the signature of this main aisle. Thank you. And where do librarians go on vacation? The library. Stonington Public Library for Chris Ross. It began with a sandwich board. Welcome, story time, poetry, open mic, food and fiction, island artist exhibit. I couldn't wait. The library closed. We walked by the next day, bubble wands, magic glycerin, a welcome even when the doors were not open. And then Tuesday flew up the steps into welcome. Chris talking about his latest crossword triumph, just back from NYC, us just in from NY, a bond was formed. One more trip, books for loan, books for sale, books for free. The library had it all. Local art, a place to find out, and a director with a heart as big as the view. Thank you. Thank you. This is, the scientific word for this is Scytherism, but I was discouraged from making it my title. It's just, you'll figure it out. It's a tree shanty. They are dipped, brushed, coated with winter's confection. They are woodwinds. They are sunset's soundtrack. They are strung with soft needles. They whisper in the breeze. These are old salts. Their orchestra, a fleet of waves. Their song punctuates coffeed conversation, sets the halyards to singing. They conduct in a hurricane, waving their arms like an impassioned maestro, yet tamed by a greater hand. They dance in unison as if no one is watching. The music they make, slightly younger than time, soothes the soul, calms the spirit, the euphony of trees. Thank you. When Marsha said that poetry heals, this whole book is about healing for me. So I'm going to close with not the last poem, but with this last poem. It's called Sand Beach, Stonington, Maine. 1. A hint of blue, a shard of green, a shoreline bathed in sunset's sheen. Spindly sticks, a seaweed crust, rocky shore, sandy dust. looking high from piney crowns to mossy rocks upon the ground. From shore to sun, the path of shine. Sunset shared, your hand in mine. 2. What is it about the cusp of shore, the reach of the pines? I see the path across remnants, rocks, ridges, stubble, beach berms. April's bracing wash, singing gentle songs, draws me further along the beach face. The sun on the point, the isles beyond sea. These souls have walked an abundance of miles, met with many colored sands. This shines deep and long, stirring my core, calling me home. Thank you so much.
Let's hear it from Linda Dickman. And one more time for all our marvelous speakers today. I'm going to bring up Jen to do the open mic, but I'm going to go over the rules. We have rules for the open mic. 1 poem, 3 minutes tops. Otherwise, a hook comes down from the ceiling and you disappear forever. Let me introduce the wonderful Jen Senft.
And one more rule, which you forgot. So just let the poem speak for itself. You don't need to introduce your poem. And hardly anybody signed up. So is there anybody who did not sign this and wants to read? Okay, I'm going to introduce the first person and then I'll come around. So first we have Steve Borodkin.
Hey, Chip, congratulations. That's awesome. Well deserved. Just real quick,
Thank you.
that stuff was beautiful and from the heart. And the love between you guys that's expressed makes me cry, but I'm wobbly but not broken. So thank you for that. It's been a long time since I've been here. I thank you all for inviting me back, and this is real. Under 3 minutes. It is called Swimming in the Literate Abyss of Insomnia. I could surely use a good night's rest, the closing of one's eyes as they brush up against the end of the day, like the final strokes of a painting. The task these days seems to be basking in the subjective, trying to amble through the gates of lullaby land with freshly brushed teeth, clean pajamas, rejoicing in the fellowship of pillow, bed, and body. Like meditation, sleep is something that happens, not that which is done. When attempting to will either to happen, failure and frustration prevail. I lay prone on soft sheets, their swaddling weave long ago calling to slumber. The rising moon, reflected cast, signals my internment in an ever-changing labyrinth of over-contemplative poetry and short stories in my head, essays and Steinbeckian insight into some true nature of man. Descendants of the hours slows to a crawl like the whispered entrance of a lover, claiming their secrets and their redemption, but not mine. The night collapses heavily with no grace at all, bringing me to the lost hours of my monkey mind restlessness. In this alpha state, I see myself at the shores of a vast ocean of words. I skip in and out of the surf made of vowels and verbs, tasting its salted sentences, syntax, and thoughts, dipping my feet into the majesty of its granular grammar, bathing myself in the flotsam and jetsam of churned written expression. My feet push along its sandy bottom of shells and sand, made of the calcified flourishes of genius, yet to be discovered, a sea of expressive joy, angst, revelation of beauty and human condition. Joyce, Shakespeare, Hemingway, Maya Angelou, Mary Oliver, Poe, Roth, and T.S. Eliot all bathed and frolicked in these waters, but maybe on different shores. Alas, his prose soon to be forgotten in a fog that seems to hug the landscape of my creative psyche like the mist over the farmland that surrounds me in the early November mornings. The sun rises, stabbing and slashing away the cloak and shadow, displacing my selfish lover with coffee and fur. Flight slips away, leaving me wanting what was promised. Emerging from the captivity of insomnia, still wet, sand between my toes. My mind warms to the day, lifting the fog, taking all its noise and my award-winning thoughts with it. I'll try once more tonight to capture it, casting my net wider, snaring all the unseen symptoms of my wakelessness in its tangles. They wiggle and thrash in their displeasure of being noticed and then caught, escaping through the porous design of their prison, my mind's eye. Yet I'll admit as a man of some age, the parts and pieces are starting to show signs of wear and the misbehavior of my youth. This presents a plethora of inactive and seasoned players, each on its own proper position in the field, ready to play, with no real way to see the ball due to failing eyesight. No way to find the damn field in that, I'm sorry, no way to find the field in the damn thing anyway if it smacked you during the game. I seem to move slower as late, with the deliberation of someone arguing with oneself for the motive. I am slowing down because there is no longer need to rush, and I know better. Or is this as fast as I can go? I push forward to the beloved end of the day. This in itself is a much needed opposite end that brackets the beginning of each waking moment. Now I'll admit, I've always been a man of ritual, afraid of the static that lulls you into timelessness. But confronted by the hum of its mechanism, I start each day with the same never-changing thing. Without indulging in detail, my self-grooming and making ready is who I am. Let me say my evenings hold the same delights, the ungrooming, the unmaking of readiness. Sleep, glorious, hunted, at times trapped as I am in its own womb and rapture, phrase and forgotten rhyme. Thank you.
Wow. One more time for Steve. No, that was great. So we'll do two in the room and then we'll go up to Zoom, and I didn't intend to rhyme. So next up, Wayne Barr.
I didn't know I was up so soon. Oh, okay. This one is called Then, Someday, and Now. Your fantasy was not my fantasy. Separate stories whispering along our skin. A chain around my rib cage I could not hold up. Songs never sung, but playing somewhere deep within. Weekends on the shore of Lake Michigan. Something powerful in the unpredictable, sharp-angled links between desire, imagination, and need. My ambition kept me distant. You were lonely in ways I understood or thought I did. I was torn in half by what I falsely believed would last, and protecting the aching emptiness of all that. You represented something I thought I could leave behind. The slow suffocation of security wrapped around the rabbit hole of responsibility, food on the table, someone to come home to, monthly payments made on time, protect what little you've got, and don't ask for more. My dream was for something better. The theater. Portrayals of courage for one moment more. Stories that reached farther for something. An ignited spark of insight, tossing light onto the travesty of excessive profiteering and hypocrisy, adventure, discovery, taking chances. The long shot of believing propelled me forward to ask for more. An actor has a particular and peculiar relationship to acceptance and rejection. You're a good actor. Have you got something else? Next. It was hard not to let the loneliness engulf me. The numerous distractions of New York City still existed, but nothing was fun or funny anymore. After 10 years of preparation, I lasted 4 years in the crossfire of professional theater. Just like the time we had together on the shore of Lake Michigan, my affair with the theater was nothing more than a tryst. Something had dropped out, something was missing, myself. It was easier to be someone else. Like a not so sly fox running into the traffic, I changed my mind and headed back into the woods. There was no one to come home to. It wasn't until years later, sitting beside my brother in one of those sacred Broadway theaters, the opening number of a chorus line, the exhilarated throb of adrenaline, God, I hope I get it, reached out to me, pulling up what I had pushed down, everything I came to New York for. Believing, maybe. I did what I could, looking straight ahead, wiping the refusing to stop tears. The show was over. If my brother noticed, we never spoke of it. His visit was for his own reasons. A huge career change needed to be made. Mine had been made. Days were now spent standing over a table, massaging the places that hurt. One-time actor becomes a massage therapist. But how do any of us deal with the dream that doesn't go away? Discovery, adventure, taking chances. Each one of you, look inside. You are the best thing you've got. As we march along in life, there is disappointment, loneliness, and definitely pride. But there are also changes of heart. Live from within. sanctify all that there is in any given moment. Thank you.
That was incredibly touching. Let's hear it again, Wayne Barr. And I think I get to keep part of it. Okay, so last one in here, and then we'll go up to Zoom for a few. My friend Nina Yavel.
I just want to congratulate Chip on becoming poet laureate. And wonderful to hear Marsha and Linda, and I forgot your name, I'm sorry. Dave? Dave. Anyway, it's great to be here. I'm just going to read a quick poem called Through a Keyhole. Why would some god want you take your center and leave me with ashes? More likely, you were caught accidentally in a Mobius strip, a matrix of probability like the one you made for me when I was a child. Do you want to see me put myself through this keyhole, you asked. I giggled, not knowing what would come next. I almost believed you could do it. A brother can do anything, but I laughed. No, it's impossible. I don't believe. Oh, you can't do that. Watch. And you carefully sharpened the pencil, and in that very precise way of yours wrote myself on a small strip of paper in tiny letters, folded it and placed it over the keyhole, then gently pushed it through to the other side. Through autumn flowers on this sunny September morning, I kept looking into that space, wondering where you disappeared, hoping that soon the magician would come back, bring stories of how it was at the center of emptiness. We would drift off into other afternoons, lie in limp grass under a shell of moon, sit through thin clouds. We'd walk as we always did, because through your death, I no longer fear the other side.
And that is from Nina's newly published book. What is the title? Blue Mums. Do you have any here for us to buy? Do you have any here for us to buy? Ah, awesome poem. Nina, you got it. And so we will go to Zoom for our purple poet, J.R. Turek.
Super. Thank you. Oh, miss you, Chip. Hope John's feeling better. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Jen. Oh, thank you, Marsha, David, and Linda. What a great trio. What a great put together. Thank you. So I just got this week. This is the latest, and perhaps the last. Kel 25. This is a Korean expatriate literature anthology, and it's in Korean and English. I do not read Korean, so I will read one of my poems in English. And a nod to Vinnie Colon and Megan Dausch, because they are also in the book. Garden Flirt. The ruffled hem of a pink skirt flips in a sigh of spring breeze, attracts bird calls of appreciation. Shy smile, a fuchsia flush petals cheeks, whistles trill of encouragement, entice a second skirt to join the first. Noontime, the garden abuzz with approval, flounce of a third skirt, a coquettish fourth, finally a fifth. the art of seduction begins. Fragrance intoxicates admirers, suitors propose to welcomed advances, entice to induce affection. Passionate touches of veneration, skirts flutter, alluring scores of adorers in beckoning embraces. A garden, the birds and the bees. 5 pink blossoms on an azalea branch. Love blooms. Thank you.
Wow, congratulations, Judy. That was wonderful. And having
you.
it published. J.R. Charles. Okay, also online, we have, I'm sorry, and I don't know, I can't read the last name. Megan, I know who you are, but I don't know the last name. Megan Dausch, okay.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Everyone has such great readings. This is called Thaw. I grew on your solid surface, season by season. I thought we had more time to pack memories between us. But even permafrost lets go when warmth comes sooner than it should. When frozen layers split and I didn't have a place to stand, I promised I would search softened earth for the messages your melting revealed. Faint impressions like fossil script, edges blurred by moisture, pleading to be pieced together. You are gone, but I return to the thaw, collecting signs the earth still offers. Thank you.
Megan Dausch. And I do apologize for butchering your last name.
Oh.
So we'll come back to the room. Somebody I have known forever, Diane Morelli.
Our Father, who's 87. Our Father says his prayers, sets the clock, goes to sleep. 5:30, alarm chimes. Stiff neck, sore back, wish to stay in bed. Sharp mind, strong will not have it. Holy jeans, red shirt, conjure up good fortune. Sun rises, stripers running, ebb tide nears. Phone rings, message says, bike's on, going fishing. Boat pounds, choppy sea, bound for good bottom. Ease off throttle, set the drift, cut the engine off. We drop our lines. Sinkers thud. Tap, tap, tug. Our bait lost to shorts. Our Father, feet up, rod bends, starboard side of his recliner, striped bass on his hook. Pop reels in, our only keeper. Thank you.
Diane Morelli. We even lived in the same neighborhood. I guess one more in the room and then we'll go back to Zoom. I'm glad you're reading today. Where are you, Linda Bullock?
Good afternoon. Congratulations, Chip. I found this poem among some old family papers. It was written apparently in the late 1800s. It's called The House by the Side of the Road. There are hermit souls that live withdrawn in the peace of their self-content. There are souls like stars that dwell apart in a fellowship firmament. There are pioneer souls that blaze the paths where the highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live in my house by the side of the road where the race of man goes by. They are good, they are bad, weak and strong, wise, foolish. So am I. Then why should I sit in the scorner's seat or hurl the cynic's ban? Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live in my house by the side of the road where the race of man goes by. The men who are good and the men who are bad, as good as bad am I. I would not sit in the scorner's seat or hurl the cynic's ban. Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I know there are brook gladdened meadows ahead and mountains of weariness height. And the road passes on through the long afternoon and stretches away to the night. But still I rejoice when the travelers rejoice and weep with the strangers that moan. Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I see from my house by the side of the road, by the side of the highway of life, the men who press with the ardor of hope, the men who are faint with strife. But I turn not away from their smiles nor their tears, both parts of an infinite plan. Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man.
That was terrific. Once more, Linda. We'll go up to Zoom for Virginia Walker.
Okay, I think my mic is on. Hold on, I'm dropping everything here just a minute. Can you hear me? Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm sorry. This is a little late, but I wasn't here last month. Memorial Day wreaths. Once a year, we are at Anne's home, 5 from the Shelter Island Garden Club, tasked with making green and flowered wreaths for the honoring Memorial Day rituals. There is not much chatter, although we laugh at how short we must cut the red, white, and blue carnations. Will they stay upright in the frames? I think of the men, young and not so young, cut suddenly from life, holding their hometowns in their minds as they lay down to die for their ideals. Our little island has the names of those engraved at Wilson Circle, the last killed in Afghanistan, the earliest dying in our country's formation. Farmers, fishermen, entrepreneurs, they pledged their lives to the protection of what they loved, family, friends, freely chosen associations, bonds of liberty. We weave boxwood, baby's breath into the bright flag-colored carnations, creating 5 beautiful wreaths, each as individual as the heroic souls they represent.
Ouch, Virginia Walker. And I have the pleasure of introducing our very own poet laureate. Are you here? Chip Williford.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry that I'm not there in person today, but I'm here and I am just feeling the love from the room and from all of you on Zoom. Um, I am just still over the moon over this appointment of being poet laureate, and I'm just so looking forward to traveling all over Suffolk County to experience the beauty of poetry from all the ends and from all the people. I would like to first tell you about a program that I'm involved with, and that's to raise money for Poetry X Hunger. I donated my poem TikTok to music so that we can raise money for Poetry X Hunger. It's a website called fuwimi.com, and it's fund with music, and it's spelled FUWIMU, and it's the first two letters of fund with and music. So it's FUWIMU.com. And you can buy my poem, which was placed to music for either you could donate the $2.40, $2.99, $4.99, or $9.99, and 100% of the proceeds will go to Poetry X Hunger. And also the website, because it's meant for music, but Ralph Rowe, who's the drummer of with Nile Rodgers and Chic, he's the president and CEO of Fuwimu. You can send your poem in and they'll put music to it, and you can select any charity that you like to receive the funds from your poetry. So I definitely encourage you to do that, and I'll put the link in the chat. So now I would like to read The Love of My Life. I aspire to live each breath as though I may not breathe anymore. Today I see life differently than ever before. I must use my time wisely because time is swift, life is precious, and each second is a gift. Although wisdom comes with experience, naivete is no excuse for not being conscious of self-neglect and abuse. I've stopped punishing myself and learned how to truly forgive. I've established guidelines which I vowed to live. I learned how to love myself and realize my true worth. I'm immeasurably blessed to have recovered from the hurt of past experiences that I'm unmistakably, regrettably responsible for. Consequences of bad decisions, hard beds I made recur. I will not live in the shadows of my past, but in the present, in hope of a fulfilling future that will ever last. I will not be afraid to respond to and give love with the unconditional measure that God has shown me from above. I cherish this opportunity and respectfully accept my inevitable plight. I've been given another chance to make and do things right. I thank God for his goodness, his mercy, his grace, and most of all, his love, which with all my heart I embrace. All I had to do was open my eyes, my ears, my heart, be quiet and still, and wait for God to speak and tell me his perfect will, which is to live my life with love in my heart right down to the core, loving myself and others until I have breath no more. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And I would like to introduce the next poet, and that is Hiram LaRue. And then we go back to Jen.
Well,
Hiram
thank you.
LaRue is the president of Poetry X Hunger. Take it
Thank you,
away,
Chip.
Hiram.
Thank you, Chip. I'm not going to read today because my ears are just enjoying listening, but I did post the link to the Fiwumu site in the chat. And obviously, those in the room there can't see it, but Chip has just been incredibly generous to donate the proceeds from the sale of purchasing the link to his wonderful poem TikTok. He's donated all the sales to Poetry X Hunger. And so, of course, I've got a big smile on my face. But thank you very much, Chip, for all of that. And I'll turn it back to the MC.
Thank you, Hiram. Thank you for all that you do. And thank you to the features. You guys were wonderful. Thank you so much. Marsha, David, and Linda. I love you all. And I'm sending you a big old hug.
Okay, and here in the room, Kathy Donnelly.
Hi. So certain people meant a lot to me to listen to their poetry. I was a little late, sorry about that. I missed the first reader, but I'll catch her on the way on the second round. All right, not supposed to introduce a poem, but I would like to just say historically, in 1929 was the year of the crash. And that at that time, the Depression started and young people had to go work, had to start working and not finish high school. A young teenager got pregnant in 1929. And that meant a lot to me because that's my grandmother. So this is a letter to her. I've never, well, it's in the poem. Dear grandmother, we never met. Who were you? Does your soul hover above and around? Who are you? I talk of your 17-year-old experience in a sentence, pregnant in 1930. The words slip from my tongue as if it were less than a tragedy that must have colored your entire being all the days that you breathed. Every waking moment, every minute of sleep. When did you notice your body changing from a girl's to a mother's? Was the child growing in your belly by consent or not? Did you know this boy or man, father to my mother? How did you feel about being sent away? How did it go when you returned? Did our Catholic Church consider you wayward or naive? How did it feel to give your child away? Did you watch her grow from a distance or try to forget? Did you learn her name? Did you name her? Did you hold her, feed her, love her for a while, want to keep her, raise her on your own? Did this secret quiver inside of you, yearning to be set free? Why did you not marry 17 years old in 1930? Too bad you could not see into the future. See how forgiving your child and grandchildren would be, how the mores of the times would change about being unmarried and pregnant at 17. I would have liked to have known you.
Well, that one hit home. Thank you, Kathy Donnelly. Is there anybody else in here who wants to read and did not put down their name? Claire doesn't want to read today. So I'll read a really short one and then we'll bring Maggie up and then you'll reintroduce our readers. I'm not going to read something heavy today. And it's short too. This is called Pablo at the End. You took me up to Woodstock, a weekend at your boyhood home. We lay in bed like we were new. You said, look how far we've come. You yielded to me from below, but truth I had to tell. All your softness to me now will not change things, Pablo. The kindness in your eyes belies that from your lie we fell. All your softness to me now will not change things, Pablo. And that, thank you. And last is Maggie Bloomfield.
Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you. And thank you, everybody who read today. It was, what a beautiful afternoon. This poem, I found this poem this morning. I kind of forgot I wrote it, so I figured I'd read it. It's called, it's a memoir poem, At the Top of My Voice. The handle was still on the old Victrola, but conversion of some mechanical sort rendered 78s, 45s, 33s playable with a click of a switch. Hours were spent with Sinatra's Don't Get Around Much Anymore, Nat's Orange Colored Sky, archaic ditties like Nola and Silver Threads Among the Gold. Elvis wiggled in with rock and roll, and my mother's favorite, Love Me Tender. A song called Ape Call ruled for a while. Hormones vibrated close to my high school sweetheart under the dining room table to Twilight Time and It's All in the Game. Lightning struck on an awkward family trip to New York City at age 15, where we were constantly lost. Took a taxi to the New Yorker Hotel from Penn Station, half a block away. I watched Sally Ann Howe in My Fair Lady and quelled. Broadway show albums preempted all else. Oklahoma Carousel, Most Happy Fella, Music Man, Kiss Me, Kate. The record player nearly wore out. Along with my neighbor's ears at my karaoke at the top of my voice, practicing at the top of my voice for the town's voice teacher, proclaiming at the top of my voice that I was getting out of this half a horse town and heading for Broadway. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We will now bring up the features again. Marsha, would you like to share with us? Marsha Nelson.
Okay. So I was going to do a Caribbean poem, but you know what? I want to do this poem. It's called Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's a poem by James Weldon Johnson, and it was turned into a song. As we know, we call it the Black American Anthem. But I'm not gonna sing. Can't sing. I'm just gonna do the first stanza. It goes like this. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you. That's the first stanza. And I want to say congratulations again to Chip. Everybody's saying congratulations. We're so very proud of you. It was an awesome, I almost said service, but it was an awesome, what do you call it?
Ceremony. Ceremony.
Gathering. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome.
Thank
Chip.
you,
Very
Marsha.
proud of you. Thank you. And thanks for having me back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marsha. David, are you ready to share?
A little prose poetry, perhaps. I was the third child. The morning rituals were already well formed before I arrived. The timing was well honed, it had to be. There were 7 of us in a small 6-room ranch. My parents, my mom's parents, my brother, my sister, and me. Dad had to be on his way to work long before 7. My brother on a bus to school not long after. My parents rose together before 6. Mom to the kitchen, Dad to his shower. Now with my addition, my needs would be tended to as soon as the coffee was started. That's why I'm addicted to caffeine. I was swaddled again, placed against the backsplash of that red patterned Formica counter. I took on from that perch while I'd look on from that perch while my mother made breakfast and lunch for my father and brother. The smell of that first cup of coffee, the smell of toast, being startled awake by the toastmaster, sunny side up eggs fried in bacon grease in that cast iron pan. Perhaps 200 times I witnessed that scene before I outgrew the window on my world, my counterpane. Things changed. Grandpa died, Grandma found work and moved to her own apartment. My sister got that room all to herself. I helped peel the wallpaper and paint it pink. We got our first TV, and I watched Romper Room and Captain Kangaroo. I was around 4 when I wandered into the kitchen very early one morning and asked my mother why I never got to lay on the counter anymore. She laughed and was clearly surprised that I remembered it at all. She failed to convince me that I'd outgrown the space, so she dutifully cleared off the counter and helped me get in position. We laughed together when there wasn't even enough room for the cutting board.
Thank you so much, David. And now Linda is returning. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you. I will do my only commercial because I want to invite you all to the Poetry Path opening August 10th. Don't have a time yet. As soon as I know, you'll know. And the rain date is the 17th, Northport Village Park. But the book came to me in the mail this week with all the poets and all the beautiful artwork. And there's nothing that really gives you a picture for how beautiful it is, but it's so beautiful. And that's my commercial. Okay, that's it. So I need you to repeat after me. E-I-E-I-O. Or E-I-E-I-O. Okay. So this is from my book, The Big Duck. Martin Moorer had a farm. And on that farm, he had some ducks.
E-I-E-I-O.
There were ducks here, there were ducks there. Here a duck, there a duck, everywhere a duck. Martin Moorer had a farm.
E-I-E-I-O.
Jewel and Martin took a trip.
E-I-E-I-O.
They stopped for coffee, had a sip. E-I-E-I-O. With a sip here and a sip there. Here a sip, there a sip, everywhere a sip. Jewel and Martin took a trip. E-I-E-I-O. Martin had a fun idea. E-I-E-I-O. To sell more ducks to folks right here. E-I-E-I-O. There were ducks there, there were ducks here, here a duck, there a duck, everywhere a duck. Martin had a fun idea. E-I-E-I-O. Martin Moorer had some land. E-I-E-I-O. He began to hatch a plan. E-I-E-I-O. There was land right here, there was land right there. Here's some land, there's some land, everywhere was ranch land. Martin Moorer had some land. E-I-E-I-O. George Reeve, the craftsman, was engaged. E-I-E-I-O. Two brothers from the vaudeville stage. E-I-E-I-O. A Collins here, a Collins there. Here a man, there a man, everywhere a good plan. George Reeve, the craftsman, was engaged. E-I-E-I-O. Reeve studied bones from Balfour form. Please hold. Reeve studied bones for Balfour form. E-I-E-I-O. The wooden frame climbed to adorn. E-I-E-I-O. Some cement right here, some mesh right there. Here's some paint. There's some paint. White and orange street paint. Martin Moorer had his duck. E-I-E-I-O. A Model T provided light. E-I-E-I-O. So that the duck was seen at night. E-I-E-I-O. Now there was a nest right here, now a nest right there, here a nest, there a nest. Finally, the best nest, Model T provided light. E-I-E-I-O. Martin Moorer's dream took shape. E-I-E-I-O. Part of Flanders' pretty scape. E-I-E-I-O. There were school kids here. There were tourists there. Here a look, there a look, everywhere a good look. Martin Moorer's dream took shape. E-I-E-I-O. Martin Moorer's duck still stands. E-I-E-I-O. Making memories, that's the plan. E-I-E-I-O. Long Island lore, tales by the score. Here a tale, there a tale, everywhere a duck tail. Martin Moorer's duck still stands. E-I-E-I-O. That is it. Thank you so much.
I wanted to end with fun. What a great finale for a wonderful afternoon. Let's give everybody a hand. Thank you all for coming. I hope you come back next month. I hope you, I'm sorry? Yes, that's what I was going to say. The community poem. Make sure you put a line in the jar and come back next month. Next month, we're going to have luminaries. We're going to have Rosa Gaines, who was up there, but she didn't read. And I met her at a writers' conference in Oregon last month, and she's wonderful. And the very wonderful Star Black, who teaches at Stony Brook, the MFA program. And it's going to be an amazing afternoon, so please come back. Thank you all for coming.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Jen Senft, who did an amazing job at co-hosting with Maggie Bloomfield and Claire Lunsberg. Thank you all so very much.